Action. Welcome everyone to Morning Minutes with myself, Michael Bergio and Mark Novak. And this morning we're going to be talking about saving money, adjusting your budgets through property, little tips that we're seeing our clients do and shifts they're making with properties they own, properties they rent, and just a different mindset due to basically COVID-19 and just getting more out of the property. Mark, we're seeing a lot of sort of changes people are doing. And what do you mean? How can people save money through renting? What are we talking about?
I'm doing it for people are doing it for sale. People are doing it with rentals. People are doing it with commercial properties. They're doing it all round. And I think what people are doing is they're looking at what's essential and they're looking at making changes property-wise around themselves to what is essential and not essential. Yep. An example of that today is we're showing sales properties. We're showing rentals properties, and the style of people that have inquired over these properties are just adjusting their budgets. So, for instance, with rentals today, some people are in more expensive properties and they don't find it necessary to be in something of that budget. So they want to move something to a lower budget. So we've got properties tailored to people like that. Or we've got people that are working more from home and they've got less importance to go into the office and they want to invest more into their home office and into their home. So some people are actually going up on their budget. They're saving because they're not commuting to work and traveling to work, but they're spending a little bit more on their real estate because they're working from home all the time. And they reckon this is going to be more permanent in their life.
Yeah, and I think, Mark, I don't think there's probably been a better time to be a renter renting a property because even though you can do the same if you own it, as in shifting and changing properties quite quickly, but like there's probably a less emotion to it. If you bought a property and you don't necessarily need that amount of space, you could do with a little bit smaller and rent out the property you bought. Like I think emotionally that's a bit tough for people. But people who are renting a property, now's probably the best time to be a renter, especially if you're on a month-to-month lease, because that's something you can change very quickly. You're flexible, you're mobile, you're like an employer saying, how can I reduce cost this week? And it's lay off staff. If you're at home, your answer, how can I reduce cost, is change properties. And that's something that can be done very quickly, especially if you're on a month-to-month lease with that. And especially where this COVID, like everyone's planning for 6 months. So I don't think it's rushing into it or over-exaggerating or doing, yes, I know there's other costs associated with moving, but if this is here for 6 to 12 months, you could save a fortune by making a transition where you may be in that 4-bedroom property, but now you need 2 bedrooms and you're saving $400 or $500 a week. And you can do that process quite quickly. Like that's a way of just shifting, even if it's just for 6 months or 12 months and then you go up. Like this is how we've got to be thinking of how we can reduce costs. It could be getting rid of the commercial office and getting a bigger home. Like maybe that rent's better. Like
and you've still got tax deductions if you've got a commercial office that you're getting rid of and you're going to have a home office at home. There is still tax deductions in your home that you can actually enjoy that you should be taking advantage of. So don't think that if you're going to upgrade your house because you've now got a home office and working from home, maybe full-time or part-time, you can still claim those deductions.
100%. As Luke says, will people still sell and look to rent, sublet, increase it? That's a big one as well, Mark. I think subletting. Look at what else is out there. You may be in a larger home that you don't need. People are looking for sort of offices out there, maybe not working with the quarantine, that one, but I think there's other things you could be looking to do at the moment. But instead of just looking for your landlord for relief or cutting costs that way, I think a big one is the overhead. And I think we need to look in the mirror and say, do we need this property at this cost? What can we do? Can we make a shift or a movement?
Everyone's going to be different. Some people are going to need more out of their real estate. Some people are going to need less out of their real estate. So either way, there's money that can be used as a money saving device by switching your property. And today, for example, if it's really compelling, guys. If you have a look around at the price of some of the rentals, you know, like I know, look, unfortunately, it's pretty hard to admit, but I know I've got a lovely unit, which is a 2-bedroom unit in Curl. I'm generally getting around 700 a week. I've just rented it for 550 a week, because 750 a week. But for me, it was more about convenience. It was like, you know what, let's just lock someone in until December. In December,
Yes.
I'll be a hero. Now, to the tenant who took that property, like rich to them, they've actually done pretty good. They've got a quite an incredible 2-bedroom unit that was renting for a lot more. My point is, if you stay shy, stay dry. If you're not going to be active in this environment to save money, you won't save money. If you're not going to be active in this environment to take advantage of some of the bargains that are out there, you're not going to save money. So now is the time. If you come and see a property with us today, we can have you approved and keys, lease signed, and the keys given to you on the spot.
Yeah, and I think a big thing out there is one, and what you need in your agent as well. We're open today, like a lot of people through the quarantine have sort of put their head in the sands. We've spoken a lot about keeping productivity up. We're open today, and we felt it was a duty. These landlords are going through a tough time at the moment, and they need every opportunity for their agent to rent their property. This is the time people have time. So that's why we're open. And tenants need property as well. Even though
how many calls have we got from tenants that can't afford their rent? Well, the perfect thing is just to move to something that's a bit more economical at the moment.
It's true, because a lot of it is there's not free money out there. You're paying it back. Like there's no free money. So if you may get away with it for a couple months of just getting by, but is it a long-term plan? You've got to be looking at your budget for 6 to 12 months, not just week to week. And if you can't see within the budget affording that property at that level, then look to change properties and relieve that stress as well, amongst other things. And a big thing, Mark, go through, you mentioned snap approvals, instant approvals. Talk us through that. Like, I know some of the biggest headache for a landlord is potentially vacancy and time vacant. And also biggest stress is from when a tenant sees it online or hears about a property to view it, and then to view it, to get the application, and then to get the application approved. Like, this can sometimes drag on 3 days, 5 days, 2 weeks. What are we doing different for our landlords?
The truth is our office was lazy and the whole real estate industry was lazy in getting tenants approved. Because in this day and age with DocuSign, in this day and age with communication, it is so easy to get a tenant approved on the spot. You know, Tenant Reference Australia for credit checking, all that stuff with all the access to it. You know, a tenant used to have to print. Do you remember? I remember tenants used to have to come in, they'd ask you to photocopy their bank statement, or they'd ask you to photocopy.
Yeah.
Like now, it's with mobile phones, email, all that, you know, the industry should be able to approve a tenant on the spot. And that's what we've moved towards in the last week, because we looked at our business and said, you know what, we are a bit sloppy and a bit slow, and it is important to get these tenants approved straight away. Let's do it.
Yeah, and you're right. Like, I know I've spoken to a few brokers, and at the moment they're very happy with how quickly people are getting information to them. Like, the biggest pain, I think, for landlords and agents were you need not a lot of information, but there is some basic information you need, and there was always a lot of time to get that. How many applications did you get which had so many missing documents? Just like brokers, I think their biggest stress is getting the information. I know now in this environment, they're loving it because everyone's home, everyone's got time. But with technology, that just assists with pre-approvals on the spot, instant approvals. And the technology, like, we can access that. Yep. I think it's Ticker, the blacklist database. You can access that basically instantly. You can get statements instantly. You can get references virtually instantly. Besides laziness, there's not many obstacles preventing an on-the-spot application.
No, it's got to be done. And that's great for tenants, because today, if they see something and they want to be moving over the weekend, we can approve them, give them the keys. They can be moving their furniture on Sunday and Monday, or Sunday and comfy in there. So it's you know, and in an environment where I think a lot of real estate agencies are closed today, I think guys take advantage of us being open, take advantage of the good prices, and this translates to commercial property, and this for sale and
Yes.
for rent as well, and this translates to residential property for sale as well. It's actually, I believe it's the eye of the storm. I believe the storm, you know, and I said it the other day, like a twister. You know, the twister, when you're in the middle of that cyclone twister, it's calm. I believe it's actually been a holiday. Everyone's together with their family. You know, it's calm. I believe we ripped into Easter like a cyclone, and I think it's the center of it. Now it's only going to get better. Yes, it's going to rip out. So there's still going to be carnage on the way out, but I think it's the time to get good value, guys. I think it's a time to save some money.
Couple of questions for little statements by Luke. Month to month for landlords on insurance. That may be relating to.
We advertise month leases. So, guys, that's another thing. Another thing that it's good. Explain it, Michael. Explain it.
Yeah, so that's basically in transition. You can take a property just for a month lease. Could be for quarantine, could just be transitioning between, but that's just adapting. Like there's a lot of things that you need to innovate. Like business is changing, the landscape is changing, and I find with like anything in life, if you don't adapt or just try and run with it, you're just going to be left behind. It's like people who didn't take FBOS when it first came out because they were anti-FBOS, and it's just like you lose business, you know, like it's just, you've got to be evolving and constantly thinking and looking what people need, not what we need. What do people need? And some people need only accommodation for a month. So let's offer that. People need to make decisions quicker. So let's do short application timeframe.
And the 1 month leases that we're offering across all of our tenancies, the tenant can stay there for 5 years. But they may just find that they just, at the moment, given their budget, they just want to move into something for a month.
And be flexible.
They may stay there for 6, they may stay there for 3 years. But it's just that I honestly think as an industry, committing tenants to a 6 or 12 months lease is actually a fallacy. It's false. It's just,
what does it these days anymore?
It doesn't. No one does it.
This. No one does it. Your phone contracts are month to month. Netflix is month to month. Like gyms, everyone's come away from it.
You want the phone? Oh, you got to sign up for 3 years. No way. Now they do this BYO plan that you can move around.
Yes,
it's happening everywhere. 12-month leases in residential is archaic. Commercial, it's different because you pin the tenant to that term and they're committed. They have to pay out that term if they want to move.
Yeah,
but that's not.
It also works for them. Yeah, it also works in commercial because if you're investing $500,000 or 100 grand or 50 grand building it, fitting it out for you, you want that security. You want the tenure. So it's very different in the commercial sector. But for residential, I think people need to wake up and just evolve. Like every other part of our lives are. You give good service, I'll stay with you. I'll be loyal. Don't try and lock me into a contract to be loyal because in all other sector, all other sectors, you give good service, we'll be loyal. Simple. Same with properties. Maintain your property. Have a good property, and we'll stay.
Okay.
And vice versa. Be a good tenant. Pay your rent. Treat it well, and we'll keep you.
And so the landlord will. Yeah. So tell me, how can people save money today with real estate to improve their budget? What's the takeaways?
The takeaway is assess what you actually need, and if you need to make a change with property, then look at it. I think that's the biggest one. Take a step back. Everyone's looking at what I'm spending at Uber Eats and all that, but look at the roof above your head. Look at the address on your business card. Do you need it? Can you make a shift? Are you in a property that was under a 2019 model of business? Look at what your business will look like for the next 6 months, maybe 24 months, and does that property still suit?
And have a look at the value that's out there. Like,
That's a big one as well.
Do yourself a favor, guys. Have a look on Real Commercial, or have a look on realestate.com, or have a look on Novak website. Don't forget about the other two. Have a look on the portals, and have a look on social media, wherever you're consuming property, and just be open your mind to it, because I just think it's a terrific time. I know it's a terrific time to make a move and save some money. Like, the value that's on the table for resi rents, for commercial rents, for buying, or either of those commercial, it's very good.
It's the exact same concept as a landlord in this time is refinancing at a cheaper interest rate. As a tenant, you need to be doing the same, because just because you rented a property 4 years ago and that's what market was, market changes. The market value changes, and you could be getting more for your money. Simply.
Yeah, more for your money. More for your money. Good call. More for your money. At the moment, that's a fact. You are buying more for your money today, or renting more for your money today than you were 12 weeks ago. If you've got an appetite, do it.
Yeah. So I think that's the biggest takeout today. You can get more for your money buying, renting, and selling. Look at it. Engage an agent for some advice. We're here. We're always here. What else? Anything else on that, Mark?
We're always here.
We're always here. Saving money, adjusting your budgets with property, selling and renting, buying. So selling, I think the biggest one with selling, it's the same thing as well. But I think there was one thing I heard last week with Tom Panos about, we've spoken a lot. We spoke about a year ago, Mark, decompression when you're selling.
Price compression. Yes.
And it resonated last week when Tom said people affected more by losing $1 than gaining $1.
That was a big one.
I just want to go through that now. Yeah, I was a bit of a aha. Very true, because we're on the outskirts. We're here or front line, looking from the outside within of people's emotions, and we're thinking like, now's a great time. Like, yeah, you sell your unit for 80 grand less, but you buy that house for 200 grand less. Why are you hesitating? But the reality is, people hurt more when they're copying a loss. So they're a bit cautious to take the 80 grand loss, even though they're buying for 200 grand less. People rather sell for 80 grand more and pay 300 grand more. They feel like they sold.
They'd rather die on a sinking ship than hop a ship and hop off the ship and get onto a better ship. It's weird. And he said it really, really well. I can't remember the psychology. He was referring to some study that was done, or some professor.
Yeah, some book or something like that.
That made the comment. But the comment was generally, if you lost $1, is so much more painful and memorable to a human than making $1. And I was like, yes. And it was factual, and I was like, wow.
And I think, like, when we're talking about selling, we need to really look, like, selling a property or doing a property transaction is not just that one part of selling that one property. You have to factor in what you're buying and look at the overall position. Do not look at just the net position. The net position. You sell for that, you buy for that, you got your transaction cost. What's your net position? Not to mention, not taking and also the biggest thing is, what's your family need? Not just the dollars. If you've got 5 people in a 2-bedroom apartment, it's almost like, who cares about the net position? It has to be done. Like, make that. But, and like we've said always, like, if you're downsizing, there's a lot of things that have to be done. But even if you're looking at it, look at your net position. I know it's a little different if you're selling for 1.5 and now you get 1.3. Like, that's a little different, but there's ways you can structure it to be better off, or you may do it in a 2-stage approach with that type of analysis. However, a comment from Bill here. However, guys, as agents, we need to not forget that we work for the landlord's best interest. As owners of a property management specialist company, Express, I always prefer to have tenants commit to a 12-month lease, ensure that the client has stability. Otherwise, tenants will keep shopping around and jumping around from property to property.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't necessarily agree with that, Bill. I think that, you know,
Thank you for your comment,
but
Bill. Appreciate it. What's
great,
your thoughts, Mark?
yeah, positive reinforcement. Look, I think in this day and age, people are just chasing convenience, and I think Telstra had that ethos with mobile phone bills: lock them in, lock them in, lock them in, lock them in. But the reality is, Bill, that, you know, to move an entire house, like it's you know, it's not something that you're not going to punish yourself and do that every month. You're not going to punish yourself and do that every 6 months. At the end of the day, if you've got that mix right, and you enjoy the property, you're there for a couple of years. You're not going to be in and out of it. So I think, irrelevant to the tenure, I think, you know, as long as that tenant's got that mix right, the emotional, you know, reinforcement of a fixed term lease, I don't think it matters these days. And now they can give that.
They've reduced the penalties. They reduce the penalties if you do break them. So it's sometimes we see in some deals the paper's not worth what it's printed on, and we are just seeing that shift of just how consumers act. Is they want flexibility. It doesn't mean they'll change. So I think it's just having that right. We manage properties all over Sydney. Just comment from Bill. We manage properties all over Sydney, and we seek markets in different suburbs, have different vacancy. 100%, it's true. Like a lot of it's all different.
You know what else, Bill? When we started advertising a couple of weeks ago, there's 1 week lease, our inquiry rates went up, but no, the amount of people that actually executed the 1 month leases was very low. So
everyone still wanted 6.
Yeah, it was the concept was attractive because it was a little bit carefree, but the reality was different. You know, when they signed up, they're like, oh yeah, look, you know. So we were open to it, but I think
and the big thing there, Mark, is what you said previously, the moving. People don't want to be moving a lot, so but they also are very conscious of, I want to know if I like this property. It's one of those things, it's not like a car, you can't really try before you buy sort of thing. And sometimes people need that a little bit of perceived flexibility to engage and move along.
That's it. That's a take.
Perfect. Thank you very much for the comments. Bill, Luke, as always, really appreciate you guys jumping on. This will be a podcast that you can access all our content, and we'll be back on Monday morning as well. And have a great, lovely Saturday, guys.
Happy Easter, beautiful people.
Thank you. Cheers. Bye.